Good evening, Shaggy SoCal 2Old4Forza, and time for the first of the two final track guides for the season's TNT season in the Hoonigan Focus. Last week, Dubai against some challenging racetracks last week. This week, we get a kind of a mix. We get two short tracks this week. One is kind of a familiar one. I don't want to necessarily say an old favorite, but it's definitely one we've raced a lot, whether it's the full length or the club length. The other one we haven't raced much at all, and I think that's going to be probably one of the more frustrating ones. So I'm going to start with the old favorite. We're back at Road Atlanta Club. Last time I looked through my track guides first. I think the last time we were here was back in the Porsche Macan, and had, if I remember correctly, it was a pretty good race. The Macans actually raced really well. This car races a little bit different. Um, so again, what I'll do is I'll do kind of a couple quick laps out, try and talk it through there, then take a slow lap and kind of point out what I'm looking at, what I think will work with this car. Again, the main issues are just working with the understeer and figuring out, keeping the balance in the car. And then I'll run a mock race with what I think we're going to run lap wise on Thursday, and we'll see how things shake out there. So let me just do a quick swig of drink because I want to start talking a lot. Excuse me, slurp, slurp. And so let's go ahead and get into the test drive here. So, test drive. Okay, so on a flyer, I'll probably do 2 laps here, but I'll be down here in fourth gear, brake just at the end of the grass, kind of spot the inside apex, try and keep it to the middle of the track if you can, bring it over to the right, ease off the throttle, brake right at the curbing, should line you right up here. You can use a little bit of curbing there. Second gear, third gear, pushing a little bit there, which neaten that up. Just modulate the throttle, eat a little bit of this curve, brake right before the mid-track seam there, just roll it in. And as you really start getting the uphill, you can really roll back onto the throttle, up the fourth gear, line it up on the right side, down the back stretch. You're braking before the end of that seam there. There's also something else I'll point out, like a little discoloration in the pavement. Up here, you're going to use all the track cresting the hill. Let the car come out just off the throttle, let the car roll in, hit the curves, roll back into the throttle, and that's a lap at Road Atlanta Club. So let me just run this one and keep my mouth shut. Okay, so let's talk about the lap of what I'm doing. So you'd be in fourth gear coming on the front straightaway. What I'm using as far as the static references, to go along with the braking line, if you can't see it, is pretty much for me, where the grass here on the left. I still haven't figured this camera out, whether I should be pointing to the opposite side so that it correlates with what you're actually seeing, or who knows. But you can see the grass on the left side of the track there. Where that ends is where I'm getting the braking for turn one. Um, Now for the brake pressure, I mean, I was trying to watch it on one of my past ones. Like, I'm really not putting, it's going to be probably about 50%, at least for me, 50% on the brakes. Again, trying to slow the car down to third gear. My turn in point, I don't have any static reference on the outside that I'm keying off of to go, okay, I'm going to release the brake and turn in and start feathering the throttle. It is really by feel. The first thing I want to look for is kind of that. I don't know if that's a corner worker shack. Corner worker stand there with the green roof. That's the first thing. It's the easiest thing to spot heading into turn one, and then you'll start to see the curbing. So somewhere, uh, probably about, and I haven't, whoops, hit the wrong button. I didn't want to do that. I don't want to rewind. Get out of that. I want to reverse. Let's back it up a little bit. So again, you're going to brake, where the grass ends before, but I'm probably trying to get the car slowed down so that I'm turning in. I'll still be on the brakes here. It's probably about here, somewhere about here. Again, it's again, if I've got my eye on the shack there, I'll just start seeing the curving there a little bit. I've just passed. Let's see if that works. And when you look at here, I'm just past. You've got some structures there on the left side that can help. But really, as far as my eyes, I'm trying to look at the apex. If I can look there, it'll help guide the car there. At least that's my philosophy. So again, down to third gear, and as I start to release the brake, I'll turn the car in. Now, for me, the way this car is, I'm actually most cars, I think my turn in is fine. I think with this car, my turn in is a bit early for what it likes because it's going to push a bit. So it's really critical to get your braking done and get as much, get as much of your braking done so that when you're going into the corner, you don't have too much excess. It's going to start to understeer the car out of the corner. Um, so again, I'm going to try and get the car to the apex, to the curbing here on the inside. That cone actually is a pretty good reference point of where the apex is. If you can kind of get it there, um, that would be. That's the ideal. At this point, either I've hit the apex well, or I haven't, or I've scrubbed enough speed off and braking, or I haven't. So ideally, if you can get the car to the inside and you're starting to roll back into the throttle, you really, this is where it gets deceptive. You can see the cone on the outside of the track, and you might think, ah, that's the exit out. That's why I'm going to bring all the car all the way to the right side of the, not the right side, all the way to the left side of the track towards that cone. And I will say, no, actually, if you watch the braking line actually wants to keep you in the center. So you can see kind of the center seam on the asphalt here. You really just want to straddle it. You can cross over a little bit of it. But the goal is, as you're coming out this corner, that you really want to be in mid track as you start to head up the hill, because you want to bring it back over to the right. And that's where I point out, you can see down the cone there on the right side of the track. It's also right at pit out, so you do want to kind of bring the car out so you're kind of parallel to the right side of the track, right at pit out, which will make pit stops very interesting. But as you get to, you can kind of see now the dotted line here for, I don't know, I guess this is the pit exit blend line or something. As I'm getting to this line, I'm going to start to back off the gas. This is another one, as you're kind of hitting the crest of the hill. You can, like here, we can't see anything on that chicane that's at the top of the hill. We know it's there. We can kind of see where the inside is by the corner worker shack that we can just see the roof of straight ahead, but it's a blind entry. It's very easy to stay on the throttle at this point, but once you reach the beginning of this dotted line, you need to start turning the car and bringing the car back to the left side to set up for that chicane. And again, all-wheel drive, very understeery car, again, doesn't like, accelerating and steering at the same time. So you're going to want to back the throttle off a little bit. Now, for me, it'll depend on how I've exited the corner, where I'm at. It might be a big lift, it might be a small lift, but it's like I just need to get out of the throttle enough to take the torque out of the wheels to give me some additional steering for the turn in so I can get the car lined up. It's more important I'd rather sacrifice a little speed at this point and get the car as perfectly lined up, or as well lined up as I can for the chicane, than to try and go in there as fast as possible. So discretion is the better part of valor. The other racing age-old adage, slow in, fast out. So at this point, I'm going to lift a little bit, still in third gear. that guard, that corner worker shack might give you a good reference to kind of help point the car. You want to start aiming the left. I can just now barely start to see the curb. Cross over the line here. And what I'm trying to do, and this is where this car is different than the Macan. The Macan, actually, I think if I remember that one, the whole thing for me getting this lined up perfectly is I want the car to kind of, meet the yellow line and be right on this curbing, excuse me, right next to this curbing on the left side. Almost not almost parallel with the curbing. It still kind of curves, but you can kind of see I want to be angled right here straight towards, if you want to use the trees, you can say there's of the trees there, it's the one that's all the way, at least the tree that's all the way to the left, but it's pretty much in the center of the screen. You can use that as a reference point. But this is about the position I want to be in. Now in the Macan, I could brake for the chicane here and still make it. This card, no, well, unfortunately, you're going to have to brake. You're going to have to. That's why it's also important, I think, to get out of the throttle a little bit to give the steering. You're actually probably going to be braking, and we'll see where I brake out. I'm probably going to be braking just before it, so probably somewhere here is where I'm going to be getting to the brakes because for whatever reason, despite having race brakes, this thing just does not want to stop as quickly as I think I'd want it to. So here, still in third gear. For this chicane, this is personal choice. You can do the chicane in third, or you could do it in second. It really then just, if you do it in third, again, it's the whole thing. Second will give you a little more point on the car. It's a little higher up in the rev range. It's going to be on its toes a bit more. But when you get out of the chicane, if you're in second, you're going to want to get up to third as quickly as possible. If you do it in third, you really need to make sure your braking is done right here because you want to get the braking done so you can release the throttle and try and attack this curbing as much as you can. Now with the tire barrier here, I'm not going to attack that all that much. I think 9 times out of 10, I'm going to probably be neat and tidy here. I know from hot lapping, if you're able to consistently kind of use that inside curbing a bit, it will shave a tenth or so off your time just because you can carry that momentum. It puts you at a different angle out that makes then the next left-hander a little bit easier. So again, second or third gear, clip the curbing. This is now a balancing act. We're starting to head down the hill. It'll be a balancing act with the throttle. I'm really not going to do a lot of braking. It's really just going to be, as I start to turn in, I'm going to ease off the throttle to allow me to steer the car a bit more, and then roll back in when I start getting straight. And then when I start to turn again, I'll back out of the throttle. It's similar to what I was doing at parts of Dubai. Suzuka is another one, and it's actually I'll be talking about the same kind of thing a lot at VAR Patriot. So it's just going to be ease off the throttle. I'm going to try and keep it to the left side here, roll back into the throttle, get down the hill. I'm going to be looking for the inside apexes there. I'm going to ease out of the throttle, get the car turned in, try to use a bit of this curving if I can, roll back into the throttle. And then this curving here at the bottom of the hill, I'm going to try and hit that as straight as possible. So I will be abusing that one. Still in third gear. And the braking now to go in this long sweeper that's going to connect us onto the backstretch. I'm actually going to brake just if I, and again, this is where I still have to figure out the right exact line. What I'm trying to do is I might be a little bit further left, but what I'm trying to do is as the car is getting to this middle seam here, I am going to do a quick, I'm going to do a quick brake to, just to scrub a little bit of speed, get some weight on the front of the car. And what I'm trying to do is if you notice the curbing here on the inside where it's just nice and just rounder like that, and then it flattens out and ends, I'm trying to get the car almost pointed, where the curbing flattens out and goes straight. I'm actually trying to aim, if I can, for that last little bit of the curbing that kind of angles in. If I do it right, I can kind of use that as the apex, as the entry apex into this corner. It puts me into the inside. I'm in third gear. I'm off the throttle. And at this point, I'm just going to hug as best as I can. I'm going to hug the inside and slowly roll back into the throttle. Probably about halfway through, once you really start going into the uphill, you probably would be able to start really slowly rolling back into the throttle, getting back to full throttle. you shouldn't really have to put too much more steering in once you're back on full throttle. But just know, if you're on the inside here, even if the car, as you exit onto the backstretch, if the car really starts to push a little bit, you can just ease out of the throttle a little bit to get the front end back in line. Plus, you're going to have, as you reconnect, you're going to have the whole width of the back straightaway as well to use if you need it. Ideally, for me, as I'll still be in third gear, I'll probably be back to full throttle. I'm going to hug the inside. Just as I'm getting the back stretch, I'll probably pop it up into fourth. But then my second apex, I'm actually going to try and clip the corner there so that I'm lined up right on the right side of the track, heading down to the last couple of turns. So fourth gear here. Now the braking here, you're going to want to get to the braking just as you're coming down the hill here. You're going to be on the brakes just as you get to the part where it flattens out. For those of you in the wheel, you may notice that the front end's going to hit. You're going to hit the splitter on the ground at that point. You may feel a little bit of a jolt when you get to the brakes. You may see the little spark on the front if you're running hood view. What I've in other cars that have better brakes, usually between the 200 board, it's I think with the Macan, I was saying, hey, where this seam ends is where I'm braking. This car needs a little, at least for me, I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more track to brake on here. So let me back up a little bit and wait for the smoke to clear. So as I'm heading down, all right. So this is going to be the fun part, and we'll see. We'll see how well you can spot this. So you can see if you follow the seam all the way down, just take your eyes, follow that track seam all the way down to where it ends, and then just start slowly going back. And where you see a dark discoloration or slightly darker discoloration on the pavement, where that ends, that's where I'm braking. So it's a little bit before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly bring the car up, and I'm going to stop it where I'm going to be braking up. But just so you can see the discoloration there, just before the end of the seam. So I'll be coming down here in fourth gear, and I will probably be braking right about here where that dark spot ends. So again, it is somewhere between, if I have to use other things, it's before, if it's easier for you to kind of say, oh, it's a car length before the seam ends, that might be another way you can tell there. It is just past the 200 board. It's maybe about a third of the way, not quite halfway between the 200 and 100 board. Again, any other things you can point out, it might even be just how and it's hard for me to point out here, but it just might even be how the worn dirt patch that's right on the asphalt. You might find something there. But this is about where I feel, at least right now, where I'm going to be braking to get the car slowed down so I can take the best line possible through the chicane here, heading towards the end of the lap. So brake, 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 brake. And for me, this is a second gear corner, looking for the apex of the inside. I'll release the brakes. And as I turn in, I'm going to try and eat as much of this inside curb as the game's going to allow me. Probably won't be that much. And then as I probably be about mid-track here, and as I turn, I'm actually going to try and clip the curb late, roll back into the throttle, head up the hill. The cone on the left side is a good place to aim as far as apex to be parallel with the curbing. And as you pass that, as the curbing ends on the left side there, I'm going to then start to bring the car across. And again, that's the other thing. Unlike other cars where normally I tend to take a more neat and tidy line, like I don't cross over into what would be the pit entry lane, that's kind of designated with the dotted line. This car needs all the track. So I'm going to bring the car over. I will probably clip this inside here a few times, let the car point down the hill. And just as you're getting about to the outside here, give yourself some wiggle room. But just about you get it, just right about the time you get out to the left side of the track, right about where the curbing ends, I'm going to back out of the throttle entirely. I'm not going to brake unless I really mess up and I need to just, get on the binders a little bit. And even that, it might just be a couple of taps. But if I've done this right, I should just be able to back out of the throttle entirely and turn the wheel. This is almost a double apex corner from the top of the hill. Off the throttle, just let the car roll in on its own. And right about the time I'm going to clip this apex late just before the cone. As I get to it, and as I come off of it, that's where I'm going to start, excuse me, rolling back into the throttle, onto the front straightaway. Again, you want to avoid hitting the outside tires. We know what happens when if we get it wrong there. But if you need something to focus on to help get a nice arc out of the corner, look at the Road Atlanta at the start finish line to help get the car out. You may get on the outside a little bit there, and you should be fully back on the throttle. Just after you cross the apex and you're coming back across the track, you should just be able to roll back in. If you've done it right, unwind the steering, and you're back onto the front straight. So that's Road Atlanta Club. Again, the car understeers, it doesn't break that well. So it really is just managing the balance there. So, okay. That's enough of slow track guide. Let's actually just go in and let's see what a mock race might look like. Oh, come on. Finish test drive. Now, laps around here are, I think for most of us on our own, it's going to be sub 1 minute laps, I would say, for most of the field. I think I was down, I want to say we can probably get down into the 56s. I don't know. I don't know if a 55 is possible in this car, but I'd say for me, probably mid to low 56s by myself in rhythm, total try hard. But with that, the calculation works out. Again, I round up to 57 seconds, divide that into 2100 seconds, which is 35-minute race, and it's like 38 laps. But we're probably going to need to make 3 stops again on this one. Again, we'll talk about fuel mileage here in a little bit. So with that, kind of trying to factor in the time on pit road. For the mock race, I'm going to run 35 laps. We'll see how long that takes with a 3-stopper. And let's see what happens. Same AI. So still running against the Forza GT, still running against the Radical RXCs and the P2 class. So while I'm waiting to go, since I have a minute to kill here, again, we're saying that we're going to say sub 1 minute laps. 35 laps. I'm going to guesstimate. Fuel, 12 laps is what I've been getting. You might be able to get 13. It wouldn't surprise me if guys in bucket 1 and bucket 2, just by nature of pace and throttle, might be able to get 13 laps out of it. But really, I would say just bank on 12. And so again, with that, 35 laps. Could you do it in 2 stops? Yes, but then we're all pitting on the same lap. So that's why I think this will also be a 3-stopper. And with that, I still got time to kill. Hopefully I don't get hit. This is another one that I'm going to be in the way. Oh, I better get going. Are you really taking a look? Yeah, you took a look. Oh, that's what I forgot to point out. Where I'm lifting, as I'm getting to the top of the hill, it'll correlate with the corner worker shack on the right side as it passes out of view. And again, I can't talk and drive at the same time. It's a little bit early. I'm paranoid. It's like, I don't see the light on my mic. Have I been talking to no one this whole time? So you can see right where that guard shack goes out of view is where I'm backing off. this is probably going to be another one where good luck getting a clean lap. Thought about it, I'm like, oh, no, maybe not. Oh, he's going wide. I'm here. Look out. Excuse me. Damn it. Oh! I don't know why you check braked me there. That could have been a little bit better. So yeah, if you're gonna try and force an inside pass, you really got to make sure you get the car slowed down. And again, can't talk and drive at the same time. All right, so I'm pushing a little bit wide here. So I'm still going to bring it back across. Try and keep it on the track. Ease off the throttle, let the car just... And that was probably a little bit too early of a turn in. Got the line a little bit better there that time, so I didn't have to back off quite as early. Yeah, the AI is always slow getting on the front straight. Radicals can... It's like we're never getting to a high enough speed where my top speed advantage over the radicals comes into play. Oh! Yeah, be careful with that outside curve. Yeah, if you can attack that curving at the top of the hill, it does then open that next left-hander a little bit more. Who is this guy in front of me? I don't know. See if I can remember to need to set the telemetry up so I can check fuel. That's probably about the best I've taken that tonight. I might have a clear lap too, but it won't be clean. Pushing wide. There we go. Try and at least, you know, practice safe re-entries. Oh, sticky Forza glue. You know, I usually do say that there's questionable racecraft in these videos, so. Whoa! I could feel the front get a little light there. Trying to get back to power. Ah, come on. Probably should have stayed a little bit wide there. That Porsche causing more trouble up there? Or is it me? That's probably me. I'm the troublemaker. Drop it down to second just to give me a little bit better bite through the corner. That's a little shallow. I need to pit this lap. I'll probably get the like the 3% warning. So yeah, since pit entry is kind of on the racing line, I will let him go and just communicate. Just communicate a little bit as far as, you know, if you're planning on going in, just so you don't catch the guy behind you off guard. All right, first pit stop out of the way. Two left. Let's just make sure, see if I can do a little bit better on this next stint. So I think what I'll do is, I could run it to, I think probably what I'll do is run it to lap 24 and then pit again on 25. And that way I've just got the pits out of the way. Yeah, so the nice thing is you'll come out in third gear and then right back on the racing line. That's the other thing too, is kind of like Rio, the pit exit is on the racing line. Hold the inside, don't get stuck on the quarter panels. Needed to give a little bit of a touch of the brake at the apex. Felt the car was going to push a little too wide on the exit. .56.4. And this one won't be clean because I'm going to catch these guys here by the end of the lap. That could have been better. But it's a good test. What I'm trying to do now, at least at the top of the hill, is get the car set that when I can go to the brakes, I'm braking in a straight line. And hopefully that straight line also puts me right where I need to be into that chicane. And hopefully not into somebody in front of me. Excuse me. I like that. Probably carrying a little too much speed on the exit there. If I can keep the car from going all the way to the other side of the track, uh, that might be ideal, but what I'd love to be able to do at some point is just get a clean lap. A little bit early on the brakes there. It's kind of where that BMW is. Somewhere between where I was just at where the BMW exited. It's probably the best place for this car. Excuse me. So that's the other reason why I take that particular line into this corner. It's the easiest way to get around the AI. Just touch the brakes there a little bit. It was a little late on the turn in. Hey, it's the Bentley GT3. So yeah, if you're going to cross over the curves, a lot of these with this car, I'm really not committing back to the throttle until I'm past the apex. Even then, it's kind of I'm rolling into it. I'm not really stabbing the throttle to get back to full throttle. That was a little better. I was gentle. Yeah, I'm releasing the throttle a little late, and then that's making me late on the turn in. That's better. Try and hold off that Daytona prototype vet as long as I can. The nice thing is I think I can work traffic a little bit better than the vet can. Go 3 wide down here. I know you're still there. All right, we will pit this lap. A little bit late there. So there, the car is just pushing a little bit wide. I'm just like, all right, I'm not going to do much else with the steering. I can let the car go wide a little bit because I'll have a lot of, you have a lot of track width there on exit. Oh, I missed that. That could have been better. I got another shot at it. One last shot to get the pit lane right. Yeah, that's. We'll see if. Hopefully, it won't be in as much traffic, so I can really figure out how to get the car into pit lane without dying or killing anybody else. All right. It's basically going to be an out, right back in, and then that'll get my 3 stops done, and I'll be able to make it to the end of the race. So yeah, you'll come out in second gear, you can just pop it nicely up in the third, and almost at that point, just follow the normal line into the corner, unless there's somebody there. Again, pit exit and traffic will be interesting. Yeah, you're gonna have to brake very early, or a lot earlier, to get the car in there. You can't charge over the hill. Maybe something I'll need to practice a little bit more. All right, last stop. So let's see if we can get back out here, hopefully in a clean bit of traffic, but it looks like I'm going to be in the thick of it for the rest of the race. But hopefully I can get a clean lap in before the end of the race, and that clean lap is a quick one as well. get one or two of these guys on the front straight. A little bit aggressive. This is more aggressive. Not the smoothest of passes, but seconds. So so I know I'm a lap down at this point. Oh, that's it, Audi, take him out. Let me help. Still think I'm carrying a little too much speed through there. Old habits die hard. Forza GT cars just getting abused by everybody else, including me. I might have drifted out there a little bit too much. That's why we practice. We figure out that these aggressive moves aren't the best things to do. Throttle, roll back in, roll out, roll back in, quick brake. We'll salvage that. Probably shifted a little too early there. I thought about it. I thought about doing the lunge, but like, no, I need to show a good example. He was going in the pits. Okay, I don't feel so bad now. Wow, that spider came up quick. It's probably going to spoil my last lap. I'll spoil it myself. But at 56.1 dirty. That's a little bit late. So 56.259 clean, I think lap 34 at a 56.15 or 149. So low 56 is probably doable. Traffic will be interesting. 36 minutes, 36 and a half minutes. Yeah, I'd say 34, 35 lap race is most likely what we'll see. And with that, that's Road Atlanta Club. Again, this will be the first race of the on Thursday, I believe, just how Matt's got it on the spreadsheet. But this will be the easier of the two. VIR Patriot Alt is going to be, if I've talked about some of the tracks we've run being like difficult or treacherous or like this one, VIR Patriot Alt is going to be annoying, but I'll cover that on that guide. So with that, I'm going to end this stream here. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and then I'll probably do the VIR track guide tonight, so that you guys can digest that as we head to next Thursday for the season finale of TNT 43 and the Hoonigan Focus. So hope you guys have a great evening. See you soon and happy racing. Nope, nope.